Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. If you want to build a company with an army of ambassadors and raving fans who speak highly of you and refer you willingly, you are in the right place. Let's meet your hosts, Chris Angel and Michael Maher.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Referrals Podcast, episode 61. 61. That is flat out amazing. We have our guest co-host. The feedback has been tremendous on the guest co-host concept, and the guest co-host that we have here today is Sandy Krestan. Sandy, you have set the bar for future guest co-hosts so high that it's going to be really tough for them to fill your shoes. So, Sandy, welcome.
Oh, hey, listen, so happy to be here. And I really don't think that's true, but I probably will never be asked back again. So you've already been asked back, so you will be back, and we're looking forward to that. So Sandy is all the way in Arizona, Scottsdale, Arizona area. She's a top lender with Fairway, and so she's got the West Coast handled. I've got the East Coast handled. Well, you know what? This system's so big that we need somebody to handle the Midwest. And today we have a very special guest and a friend of mine on. Dan Luigs is on from St. Louis, but he's not a realtor or lender, folks. He is Mr. Insurance. He is with the Insurance Store Incorporated. And welcome, Dan Luigs, to the Referrals Podcast.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it a bunch. I have been so excited about this since we asked, and it's all I've been able to think about all day today.
Well, it's taken us too long to get you on, and I really appreciate you being on today. And so tell us about, like, how did you get started in the referral game? You know, not necessarily with 7L or whatever it may be, but, you know, you're in the insurance world, and, you know, so what was kind of your background, you know, into insurance and realizing that referrals were the way to go versus buying leads or you know, the other aspects?
Yeah, so years ago, I used to be in sales and sales management for some large retail stores, electronics, furniture, that type of thing. We had a lot of athletes as clients. A lot of the St. Louis Rams were clients. And so that was really fun, really neat to get referrals in that aspect. But for the most part, we just had to wait for people to come in the door that wanted to buy something. So fairly easy. Got recruited into insurance when I knew Amazon was going to take over selling things for us.
Good move.
As far as TVs and that goes. So I thought I had found a place, and I found a guy who was successful, the sales manager, and I thought, I'll just do whatever this guy did. He had built and sold a couple of agencies. I'm like, this is it. This guy likes me. I like him. I'm just going to follow whatever it is that he's done. First day, I'm like, I'm licensed, I'm ready to go. He says, great. I said, what have you got for me? He says, well, I'm going to recommend you send out some postcards. You might think about possibly a billboard somewhere. And then you should definitely call people. And I said, there's got to be something else. He goes, well, yeah, there is. There's one more thing. You might think about, if you want, stopping by like open houses or maybe display homes. And at that time, it was when there weren't any display homes because the real estate industry was so bad. And bring donuts. Realtors like donuts. Michael loves brownies. Mail him brownies.
It's just so, like, I almost think you're making it up because it's so typical, you know? Sandy, did you get advice like that when you were starting?
I'm pretty sure that's how I started in 1987, stopping by real estate offices with donuts and flyers.
Yeah.
That was it.
Wow.
That was my advice that they gave me.
So, Dan, it started the way you were starting it with the billboards and things. I thought you were telling the Don Dasick story from 7L, you know?
Yes, exactly. And as I read that book, I thought about that.
Yeah. So what'd you do? What'd you do after that?
So I said, and that's it. That's all of the plays. And he said, yes. I said, perfect. I am going to execute these plays so well And as soon as I find better plays, I'm going to throw all of these away.
And how long ago was that?
So that was about 9 years ago now.
Wow.
Okay, awesome.
And I was working for a captive company, and me and my wife were working on having kids and all these different things. So big change was happening. Me and a couple other people did spend $22,000 on TV ads and billboards all around St. Louis.
Wow.
I got a few text messages from friends that screenshotted the TV and sent it over, and did get one phone call to quote one piece of business. And that didn't feel like a good return on investment.
Yeah. So what did you do next?
I started just trying my own things, I was always good at relationship type things, good about caring for people, knew about the Zig Ziglar philosophy, but I had no idea. As you open the show, you're like, he's not a realtor, he's not a lender. Yeah. I'm like, how in the heck would I add value to realtors and lenders? I don't know anything about either of those two things. By chance, I had met a lender, and he invited me to a Christmas party. I thought, well, I don't have anything else to do, so I'll go to this event that has realtors and lenders.
So why did you
my
go?
Thought was,
why did you go, right? So it's one of those where, I mean, and honestly, this is so funny because that's part of a strategy that we teach, so you're actually the recipient, which is better than being the victim. I just want you to know. So you're the invitee in this case. You're the one being invited. So why did you go to this Christmas party of realtors and lenders that you're invited to it by a realtor friend of yours? Yes, or is it a realtor friend or just a
lender that I had recently met? A lender that I had recently met.
Yeah. So what made you decide to go?
Didn't have anything else to do.
Okay, that's why a lot of people do some of these things. Yeah.
Wasn't sure what I would do in an environment with which was most likely going to be realtors and lenders, but it seemed like a place to start. And at that, I pulled a raffle card for a business coach, and I pulled my own card out.
Like a door prize entry?
Like a door prize type thing, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So, and you won?
And I won, and I immediately threw it back in the basket, grabbed somebody else's card, and screamed out the name and asked him to come on up hurriedly. And the coach was there. He goes, "What did you just do?" Well, I drew my own card. And thankfully, he said, "Hey, we've got 2 winners." And I started in business coaching to learn actually how to be the best realtor that you could be.
Wow.
And so
and you're an insurance agent at this time.
And he goes, "I can't hire you because I can't teach you insurance." And I said, "I've got that. I need to learn how to grow businesses, grow empires. And if you're going to teach me, not empires, but grow organizations and just grow as a business person, grow as a salesperson, like if you can teach me that and you're going to teach me through real estate, all the better."
Yeah.
Whatever it is I learned through real estate, I should be able to help transfer that information to somebody that wants it.
And how'd you learn about the 7 levels?
So just after this, I got invited again to a meeting. The same guy invited me to a Mastermind St. Louis meeting, and 2 other people followed up that I liked and respected. And I thought, if 3 people are going to call me, boom, 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 this must be a sign from God that I should go. So I went. I didn't have $20 to buy Michael Maher's book, so I didn't buy the book. Didn't know if there's anything to it, but the first meeting I went to seemed really good. And I'm like, I got to go back next month because I need more strategies. I need more things to do and wanted to implement. And I'm like, I've got to buy the book because I need to have, the system, and I need to get this going. And it kind of took off from there.
So one of those first 2 or 3 meetings, I met you.
Yes.
Yes. So
that is exactly. Yes.
Yeah. So was it the 3rd meeting?
So you weren't at. Yeah, it may have been the 3rd meeting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it was the first time you'd come to St. Louis.
Was it the surprise entry? Was it the one where I was in the basement?
That was the first one, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And that was the one I met you at. Yes.
Yeah. So I was actually in the basement on a webinar, and we were doing the webinar, and we acted like we had a technical glitch where it's like, they couldn't see me. It was going out. And what's funny, on a side note, is I think technology has been getting back at me forever since I faked. Like, I blamed it on technology, and now like there's little technology issues like that come about, and just to remind me, you love me, technology. And all right, so but we acted like there was a technology glitch, blamed it on technology, and then I walked in the back door, and we did this big surprise entry. I had my St. Louis Cardinals shirt on. I'm a Cardinals and a Royals and a Braves fan. Don't judge me. And it was a great session with a lot of energy. We had a lot of fun at that in St. Louis, right?
It was awesome. Yep, it was awesome.
Yeah, got a chance to meet Dan there, and so that you bought the book and you read it, yeah, and then kind of what happened after that?
Read it.
Yeah, read it several times over, and then
what was the first strategy you implemented?
So probably the same as a lot of people that I've talked to, and probably you've heard it before. Oh my gosh, there's all these things, and here's like my favorite 20, and I'm just going to do all of them at like a 1% level, or at least spin and think on them for a really long time. So there was a few of the strategies that I did, but the one that I remembered like where it clicked was spectrum of solutions. It was the one that I was the most afraid of because it involved something that I wasn't talented at. I felt at that time I had no money and no resources. What I did have was a teacher at home who knew how to make little flyers and little things for school. And I tried putting something together, and I said, honey, I don't know, but I got to get this done somehow. Could you somehow help me? I do need some work help. Within a few minutes, she knocked it out. I had my first spectrum of solutions. It looked just as terrible as
minutes. Isn't that the truth? That's like a great, we always, like we did the 3.5 most powerful referral generating questions a session or two ago. And we were talking about it, and just like one of the questions we need to add to what's your biggest challenge right now? What have you tried so far? What are you going to do next? Is who can help you with that? Who can help you with that? And then by when? Because for me to figure that out, it would have taken hours upon hours, while there's somebody like your wife who could bang it out in 3 minutes and go, that's it, here it is. And you're like, look better than anything we could ever create. So
somebody asked me, what's the next thing? I told them, I don't know why I said that. I was deathly afraid of it. And they said, by when? Oh, by the end of the year. He got his calendar out, and he goes, oh, are you going to work on Saturday? No.
Yeah.
Friday? Can I call you at 3:05? What time are you leaving? I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I just got to get this done because he's going to call, and I'd prefer to just be finished rather than owe somebody something. And after that, kind of that do it now philosophy, Mel Robbins' 5-second rule, like now it's like if there's something on the list, let's just knock it out as quick as possible. And then the question back there, what's better than that? Like, how can we make it even better? So that's actually the download. We can talk about it later, but Spectrum of Solutions is kind of the download.
Yeah, Dan has provided us with a fantastic download. Whether you're a realtor, lender, or ever going to buy a home, he has a home buyer checklist that everyone should have so that before you buy any home, it just go through these. It's stressful enough. Isn't it great to have a resource on a couple of pages that will help you figure out an order of things and what to do next? This is a phenomenal checklist. I encourage all of you to download it at referralspodcast.com and make that happen. But we're not done with Dan Luigs yet. And so I have to ask you, is on the spectrum of solutions, now you have it, what'd you do with it?
So it was done, finished. I called my other buddy and I said, hey, I think this can be better. He's a national graphic artist. Like, he's got big time accounts, Pepsi and Anheuser-Busch and stuff like that. I said, I don't know. I know I can't afford you. However, he goes, just bring me what you got. Next thing you know, he produces the next thing, and he never charged me a dime for it.
Wow.
So that scarcity instead of, it all worked out.
What is the spectrum of solutions for people who maybe haven't read 7L or looked into it? How would you define the spectrum of solutions for those that aren't familiar with it?
So just a very simple thing. It allows you to be focused in your meetings. So this is definitely a tactic I've embraced and loved. Is in a meeting like Sandy and I, we just met, so I'd love to get to know you. And if we were to sit down and have a meal or coffee or something, I could speak just about you and ask you questions, be curious, learn all about you. And at the very end, you're like, oh, by the way, what do you do? Very simply, here you go. Here's some of the things we provide. Feel free to take a look at this. And it's just like a menu of solutions, for lack of a better word, but here's things people want, and here's how we help them get there, kind of guide them to the end zone type thing.
That's so perfect what you just said. That's exactly how it should be used. Some people use it as a promotional piece in their listing presentation or their lender package. That's fine to use it that way. It was designed because when you have a one-on-one, you're asking questions about them and it's all about them. Literally 90% of it is them telling you about their family, their what they do for fun or travel, and their occupation and how they got into it and how to refer them. And it's all about them. And too many people, including myself, are like, I didn't talk about myself at all, or I didn't get to tell them anything, or, and it's like, when does the shoe drop? Or when does the reciprocation or where? And it's just like, the beauty of it is you're so prepared that you're not worried about getting to your stuff because you have a one-page or a one-page front and back document that's going to tell them everything they need to know about you. And it's just like, it's like an ace card or a trump card that you're talking the whole time. And then at the end, they're like, oh my gosh, we talked about me the whole time. You're such a great person. Thank you so much. And I didn't even get a chance to ask you what you do. It's like, here's what I do. Here are the solutions I provide. Here are the people I serve. Let me know if I can help anybody you know. And it's like 30 seconds later, they get it. And the whole time they're going home, the whole time that week, they're looking to refer you, to reciprocate the value you brought. I love it. I love it.
I would love to know, what do you think is the 7L strategy that you've implemented so far that has earned you the most referrals, the most business?
Yeah, so many of them work so well. I struggled to answer that question, so I thought of more of the Darren Hardy book, The Compound Effect. It's a compilation of everything and being consistent with doing the work. So if you implement as many strategies as you can at as high of a level as you can, it builds so much credibility with the people around you and in your world. But if I was to narrow it down to one, I'd say it was actually the handwritten note. Wow. It's so simple. Michael very well knows a realtor in town named Tim Kister. And I had met Tim at an event, and it happened to be one of my fancy friends who's got a pretty fantastic house. And I felt really comfortable at the event that I only knew a couple of people. Well, Tim didn't know anybody except we barely met. So we didn't know each other long and really uncomfortable. Well, he sends me this dang handwritten note, and I thought, this guy's different. This guy's not like all the other, transactional people that I've ever met. And down at the bottom, little PS, hey, give me a ring. I got a quick question for you. I'm like, I wasn't ever planning on calling this guy.
That's right.
And I'm like, call him, talk, have a great conversation, save him in my phone, text him. Next thing you know, him and I are buddies. We talk all the time, and total game changer. So when people ask me, hey, what should I do, or how can I talk to somebody, or I'm like, always send them a genuine note. And then at the very bottom, put something down, because you never know if they received it, and you're not giving them an opportunity to let you know. So just jot that down. So the other day I was talking to a international business coach. He wrote New Sales Simplified, a guy named Michael Weinberg's his name.
Yeah. We
go out for breakfast. I sent him a handwritten note. He calls me back like a day later. I don't know how the mail got to him so quickly, but it did. He's like, hey, you got a question for me. What's your question?
So Tim Kister, the lister, right?
Yes.
So Tim Kister, the lister in St. Louis, writes you a handwritten note. It has a PS. You give him a call. You weren't, you're like this. The handwritten note's a difference maker in itself. But what really cemented the relationship was the PS and the phone call that was subsequent to the thing. And here's the thing. Now you know that this is a strategy from 7L. Are you mad that somebody used a strategy on you? Are you upset? That's the beauty of 7L is these strategies are to make great people just great. It's just like they're already great. It's just all we're doing is making great people be as great as they can. They don't know how to look great. Looking great is not a personal promotional piece. Looking great is great communication. And this is great communication. So I love that. And now you implement the 7 steps to a power note, and you're using the PS, and you had the international business coach. And so here's the thing, right? You put in there, hey, PS, I've got a question for you. Give me a call. He calls you way early. You're like, you're not ready. It's like, what the heck question? So what did you say to him?
So he's a sales coach. That's what he does. So he's got all these strategies himself, and he's like, hey, what's that question?
Yeah. So he didn't know that this was a sales strategy.
No idea. No idea. He's also a client, so we know each other.
Yeah.
But we haven't really connected business-wise.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't know what you've thought about since the time we had the meeting, and now you've had a little bit of time to kind of think things through. And I was wondering, I've had a few ideas, and I wanted to see what other ways that we might be able to connect you into more places where you're looking to go. He's like, are you kidding me? You've already done so much. And it went from there. And then, of course, he comes back with, hey, I've got some ideas on how I can connect you, and I think I can do that in 2 weeks, my schedule, and we probably could get together again in person, and I can in person introduce you to these. I'm like, well, that'd be great.
Hey, this is Michael J. Maher, host of Referrals Podcast and best-selling author of 7L, The 7 Levels of Communication, the book on how to go from having relationships to getting referrals. And I have to do a special shout out here for Dan. Dan Luigs of the Insurance Store is the insurance man. He is, when I was looking for an umbrella policy and I had questions on insurance, I know a lot of insurance agents, and I turned to Dan Luigs, and guess what? Dan answered all my questions, all my wife's questions. And I have to tell you, when it comes to like what matters most to us in life, we want peace of mind and security. We want not only security around the insurance policy itself, but we want to make sure that we have someone there we can trust. Think about it. Our lives, our houses, our cars, our family, our businesses, our income. We always want peace of mind that everything's going to go right. And when it doesn't go right, we want to make sure that we have someone to call. And that's Dan Luigs at the Insurance Store. The Insurance Store is there to give you peace of mind when, not if, when the unexpected happens. And we want to make sure that it won't impact us negatively financially. So when you think about it, home, auto, business, life, disability insurance, and you're in the Midwest, I was going to say St. Louis, but it's really the entire Midwest, you got to call Dan Luigs and the Insurance Store. As an independent broker, he'll shop to find the best value for you and give you the right coverage so that you have peace of mind when the unexpected happens. He's not going to oversell you insurance or overinsure you. The bottom line is he's going to get you the right insurance at the right price. And he is the most referred insurance agent that I know of in the country. So bottom line is I just want to do a quick shout out for Dan. The guy rocks. Check out the Insurance Store, Dan Luigs at the Insurance Store. And I'll tell you what, a lot of realtors refer to him, a lot of lenders refer to him. I refer to him. The bottom line is use his services and refer him. You'll be happy, and the people you refer to him will be happy as well. And you own independent insurance company in St. Louis, correct? So it's the Insurance Store?
Yes, exactly. Yep,
okay.
Yep. So one of the partners here, but yes.
Yeah, very good. And so, all right, so we've got handwritten notes as part of your arsenal. And that's a great follow-up piece. You know, what do you see on the thing that really opens up connections and conversations for you? What is a strategy that you've implemented that you've seen really start conversations or get more connections?
So I'll focus on kind of the combination of your question: get more connections and open up to talk to people. So, for example, when I first met you, little insurance agent, just getting started in the business, wondering if I've got $20 to spare to buy your book. You do the meeting, it's fantastic. Everybody's like, "Oh, he's the greatest," and it could stop right there.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not going to go seek him out, let him know specifically good things that he did, things that I appreciated. I could just admire from afar and not engage that relationship. So I guess that's one aspect that I use when I meet people. Appreciate, yeah.
But appreciation is a strategy.
Yes, yes.
It's a strategy that we have to be reminded of. But the fact of the matter is, Dan, there were 150 people in that room. And there might have been 5 or 6 who, after the meeting, hung around long enough and said thank you. And you were one of them. That is a strategy. Like that, expressing appreciation. I will tell you that I see it on the baseball field. And who are the ones are the best players? The best players come up to me after this open practice with the best players in Georgia. And the 5 or 6 best ones come up and go, "Coach, thank you so much for practice. That was one of the best I've ever had." And guess what? They're the ones we call when we need a guest player for some of these big tournaments. It wasn't because they were one of the best players. Well, that helped, yes. But we're never going to set anybody up to fail. But the thing is they got the call instead of one of the other top 10 players because of their expression of appreciation. Well, one of those kids this weekend was MVP, most valuable pitcher of the tournament, and is now getting noticed in a way that he was never getting noticed before. You know how it started? "Thank you, Coach. Thank you for having this practice. It was one of the best ever." Appreciation, expressing appreciation is good, but it's also a strategy. So
getting past that fear factor, I'm like, why would I be afraid to say thank you? And here's something you did well, and I admire, like, why would I be afraid of that? But it was, levels that people are at, and, learning through your system, like, be nervous, set an appointment with somebody you're nervous to meet with. Like, that's right. A great, I'm supposed to feel this way. Like, this is, pat myself on the back for getting a meeting set with somebody I'm uncomfortable because they're at a higher level. So since then, it's like, hey, good for me.
Speaking of patting yourself on the back, pat yourself on the back for not building a business based on preying on the weak, but building a business that's based on partnering with the strong. How do you know if you're building a business based on partnering with the strong? Is you're a little nervous, because when you're partnering with the strong, you're like, I got to bring my A game. I got to shower. I need to look good. I need, it's like, I need to bring my A game to this party. I need to be all senses alert. I'm going to put my freaking phone away and pay attention here because this person is that important. And that's the beauty, that policy right there. I mean, here's the thing, Dan, you're one of the most influential guys in St. Louis. And I have to be totally forthright with you. When you said you've only been doing this for 8 or 9 years, I almost fell out of my chair. I thought you've been doing this forever. That's the power of these strategies and systems, is that you implement them right out of the gate, and it looks like, you know what, you're the most professional, and you're the most communicative, and you're at 12 on a scale of 1 to 10, in your implementation. So I think that's awesome. What's maybe been the biggest challenge for you in implementing the strategies, not just of 7L, but referral generating strategies?
So initially, probably the biggest one was just understanding how to get started, a little bit of the one thing, getting focused on one thing instead of 20 things. The Boost program that you used to have helped out quite a bit. Let's map it. Let's do this. Here's your homework assignments. Just work through these. Brian McRae in St. Louis, when he did Boost Live, was even more helpful, having somebody right there to be accountable to. Learning the accountability piece. If you want to get it done, tell somebody that you respect, have them, will you hold me accountable? Like, that's going to happen. So those type things were really, really important. And then through you, I had the courage to work on affirmations. I also learned since then the Navy SEALs call them power statements, so I embrace power statements. But I had that connotation around it. So years ago, I'm looking at my book from 8 years ago, and it says, "I am worthy." And that was something that, in order to do the things I had to do, I had to struggle with, gosh darn it, I'm smart enough and I'm worthy and I can meet and talk with great people. I can bring value to the situation. I had a whole page of stuff that daily, and then I'd add to it whenever I ran into a hurdle or something I needed to get past. I'm a money-making machine, and I am happy, and I believe in God, and I am blessed by God always. I'm worthy of success. I had to add the words of success to it because things started happening easier than they used to. And, who am I to, write twice or three times as much business as the people around me? And that's okay. I've done the work. I can do this. So,
what about success suicide? Did you ever experience success suicide? Did you ever experience an illness or success suicide? People think of it as being a broken bone or illness or a disease or something like that. But it could be actually a really good opportunity that derails you. You can be derailed by positives or negatives, So tell us about like a success suicide example if you've ever experienced that.
Yes, I have. Number of times. It could be something as simple as getting ready to go speak to a 300 or 400 person audience, and you're the keynote speaker, and it's the first time you've done it. And rather than go out, the specific day I'm remembering, I went to a room away from everybody, and it was dark. And the guy that owned the place is like, "Hey, man," I'm like, "I'm trying to get ready." He's like, "You're an hour early." I know. He goes, "I got this little closet over here that some speakers sometimes use and stuff. Would you want to use that?" I was in there for an hour just getting hyped up and practicing my speech, and I'm all by myself. But I was wigged out that day. And I knew if I just went through with it, everything was going to be great. And the speech turned out to be wonderful. But you run into these situations, and partly because of just knowing about success suicide, the times in the past where I felt like something was coming up, I felt like I was getting sick. I'm like, "Oh, go away. I don't have time for you. You're that success suicide little dude showing up. We're not doing this today."
Little dude. I love that you got a name for your success. Hey, little dude, I don't got time for you today. I'm gonna keep on moving. So I love that. It does help to know what's coming.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'd love to know what this has done for your, personally. You're not the business side, but the personal side.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So it has taken me from being a pretty private person and holding back and reserved and, not speaking up about things that I think about or believe in, just being private. I'm not going to talk about my faith. I'm not going to talk about my family. I'm going to keep my opinions as reserved as possible and as generic as possible. So in business, I don't offend anybody. And I found that just being able to be open, honest, engaging, curious, doesn't matter. People appreciate who you are, and why not show them who you are versus hiding from them so that actually prevents them from getting to know you. So, yeah, just every aspect of life. And in the Bible, it talks about you do the work so that you can train and be in a great environment. then you take what you learn, your skills, and apply them to the rest of your life. Like, oh my gosh, why didn't I catch this sooner? So it's just everything I learned at work, I started applying in every other aspect of life, and I keep finding new aspects to apply things to that I hadn't thought of before. So
it says be strong and courageous and do the work, right?
Yes,
be strong and courageous and do the work. It doesn't say sit there and wait for it just to happen.
Yeah,
correct.
It wants you to do the work.
And it is strong and courageous to do the work. You know, especially with what we're talking about here today. You know, you have an international sales trainer who not really understanding what you're doing, and it's working, by the way. But the thing is, they've been taught NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. They've been taught overcoming objections. They've taught hardcore prospecting. They've been taught all these different techniques and skills and so on and so forth. And when you are doing it this way, those type of people are in some cases will be like, you know, that won't work, or it's not hard enough, or it's not strong enough, or whatever. You know what? It takes courage to do business based on love, generosity, and appreciation. Love is not weakness. Love is strong. Love is courageous. Love is patient. Love is kind. I mean, love is power. You know, it's not. You got to be powerful enough to follow your love in a world that wants you to follow all these other things. You know, generosity is power. Generosity is not weakness. Kindness is not weakness. Generosity is power. You don't have to just give everything you have to everybody you have, right? It's you choose where your generosity is going to go. You know, generosity is strength. You got to be strong enough to give, even when you only have $20 or less than $20, not even enough. But you know what you can give is you can give appreciation, and appreciation is strength. Appreciation is recognition on steroids. So appreciation is strength. You got to be strong and courageous to put this into play, and you definitely fulfilled that. I mean, I love that.
I know we have a bunch of listeners that would love to know what's the best way to partner with an insurance agent when it comes to referrals. So what could you kind of give us, like a super stealthy, you know, I might be a little selfish here, why I'm asking, right? But there's a bunch of us here listening that want to know the best way that we could add value to you and partner with you to grow both of our referrals.
Yeah, I'm a realtor. She's a lender. We're talking to you, and we're saying, you're an insurance agent. Like, we'd really love to partner with you on something to get more referrals for all of us. What, you know, how's the best approach to you? That's a great question.
So when these opportunities come up, as I talk to people, my next question is, you know, help me understand what your strengths are. Where do you just rock? And then I get to know those, and then I look for opportunities to help make those even bigger. So I like to work on strengths versus weaknesses. Weaknesses are usually things that we're not very good at and we don't enjoy. So let's move over to the strength side. Let's go to things that we do enjoy and we're good at. Let's blow those up. Let's magnify those. Let's look for opportunities, and we can look for what's better than that. So this is how it's working out. What's better than that? How can we get excited? How can we bring more in? Let's come up with a strategy, whether, you know, events, you know, whatever. But there's so many different things that you can do to take what you're doing and make them even bigger. So.
And Sandy, be more specific with that. Like, literally, you're the lender, and you've got some ideas, and he's an insurance agent in his area, in your area, right? So you know, I think let's role play that a little bit. You know?
So it'd be like, Dan, I'm so grateful for your time. I would love to know right now, what's your biggest challenge? The number one biggest challenge for you right now?
My biggest challenge right now is organizational growth. So finding the right people and setting up the systems to bring them on board and those type things. So that right now is the current biggest challenge.
And so what have you tried so far in the way of growing your organization to be looking for those people?
Right now, generally speaking, it's all referrals. So I ask great people like you if you happen to know somebody that might be a great candidate. The most important quality is personality.
Okay. So what I hear you saying, you're going to your referral partners like me to maybe look for people. You're looking for somebody with a great personality. What would you be trying to do next after you go to your referral partners to look for those referrals?
Secondly, just understanding like growth structures and stuff. So potentially, I've got the opportunity to go to a number of other markets outside of St. Louis. So I don't know how to go from a single agency to a 10 or 15 or 20 location spot. So currently I'm looking for people that know how to do that.
And when were you wanting to do that by?
I'd
to
love
get
to
connected
have,
to people, to get the growth of the referrals of people that could come work for
I'd
you.
love to have 3 people by the end of next week, but the people I've found so far have not been as qualified as maybe people thought they were. So
Yeah. Well, and I love your honesty, right? Because I know a lot of people, it's not the question everyone asks every day is what's your biggest challenge, and your openness to give me some ideas. And what I'd love to do is I'll take it back and kind of see who I know, and I'll go search the people I know, and see if there's somebody that
obviously Fairway Mortgage knows something about growth.
Just a little bit.
The number one independent lender in the United States. So yes, you might know somebody.
And I would love to know, like, partnering with you, are you looking to grow? Do you need referrals for your business?
Do I need referral? Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
That's all we operate on. So yes.
Awesome.
That was awesome. I want to clap, It's like that was a very great example of not just the 3.5 most powerful questions, but it leading somewhere, leading to perhaps an opportunity and that kind of thing. And, kudos on your success, Dan, and where you've gone. And I know that we, sent you a bunch of questions. We didn't ask you any of those. So thank you for your patience and understanding as we your story took us, I think, even with the questions we had for you, your story took us deeper. You've implemented so well and so many of the ideas that honestly, I think we're going to have you back. Are you open to coming back down the road?
I would love to be back. I would love to be back.
Yeah.
Can I read something from this?
Yes. You're the guest. You can do anything you want almost.
That's awesome. So December 2012. So this is the Blessings book. And I've got a whole bunch of statements. I am thankful for Olivia's smiles, my newborn daughter. Nice. I'm thankful for my growing relationship with God. Just beneath that, it says, I am thankful for reading 7L. So, no kidding. December 2012.
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch more on that page, but I didn't even know that was going to be on the page that I flipped open to when I opened this book. But there it was. So, the things that I've learned through your book and around the people that have been growing in your community, it's unbelievable. And I don't want to cry right now. So thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you for saying that. And I'm not going to cry either. And I will guarantee that if you and I started crying, Sandy would be, we wouldn't be able to finish the podcast, and it's one of those where I try to look at it like, this is a family, Dan, you're a brother, Sandy's a sister, and we're all in this together, and the thing I have to watch with Referrals Podcast is that, from outside looking in, it's like every one of these turns into be 7L Systems the greatest, or Michael Maher's the greatest, or whatever it is. And I don't want it, but here's what we're finding, is we are looking everywhere for the most referred professionals, not just in real estate and lending, any industry. And here's what we're discovering. The ones who are doing this, and I mean specifically this, are those people. They're the one. Dan, you've been to insurance conferences. Yes.
Yes.
And everybody's asking, how the heck do I get more referrals? How do I get more referrals? How do I work with realtors? How do I work with lenders? And they're all asking, and you have the answer. Nobody. It's in the insurance world. I'm hearing Geico and Progressive advertising the heck, but I just did this yesterday. I said, how many of you have Geico? Not a single person out of 210 people raised their hand. Not a one. And then how many of you have Progressive? One person's hand went up. Their insurance they're not getting their insurance through TV ads or internet. They're getting their insurance through a friend or family member or whatever it may be, you know? So it's one of those where, you know, I guess that's what I'm saying is we're almost, I mean, literally I was almost in tears. I know Sandy was too, and I know you were too. And it is that, there is that to this, you know, but you don't have to be there to get started with what we're talking about. You know, you can simply read 7L, take the first step, or read any book on referrals, but I truly believe 7L is the best. I full disclosure,
the best.
You know, it took me 3 years to birth that baby. So, you know, so I have a vested interest in that. But it is one of those where, you know, Dan, I really, really appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on. And, you know, Dan, the thing about you that's so special is that you're not on the disc. You know, we have these high D drivers, and they are, you know, they're going to do anything to be successful, including hunting, killing, crushing, and jetting their jet boat through the lake and knocking skiers off and not fishing. You know, they're just there. Woo! And then you've got the eyes, right? The social and outgoing, and it's like, everything's awesome, you know, and it's like, you know, they're running around. Well, you know, you're steady and dependable, and you're cautious and perfectly accurate. You have a unique, you're not the typical person who would be profiled for uber producer. And yet you are. And yet you are, because you found a way to use a system in your way, your heart. And I just want to acknowledge that, you know, we do have D's, I's, S's, and C's on this. But it is one of those where, you know, if you would be out of insurance in a couple of years if you took all the insurance training. If you took all their sales training, you would be like, I'm never doing that. I hate this. I would never do that to someone. I would never want somebody to do that to me. And here you are winning with your implementation of the strategy. And I freaking love that. I love it.
I want to give a quick shout out. We've got all of our listeners. You know, if you haven't read 7 Levels, you need to read 7 Levels. We've got a Referral Mastery Summit coming in November of 2019, as well as a certified referral trainer, which I went through and did. And I'm super excited because I'm going to be back in the end of this year to do that. So if you'd like more information on how to become a certified referral trainer or become to Referral Mastery, I believe anybody that needs to connect with people for what they do, this is the way, the truth, and the light. And November 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th is the place on where you need to be. So if you'd like more information about that, go to referralmasterysummit.com. Yep. I'm super excited. I'm super grateful. I literally have notes that I just took from listening with you, and I'm so grateful to be here today. So thank you both so much.
Yeah, thank you. And Dan, you're invited. I want you to know that. CRT is the 13th and half the 14th. And then Referral Mastery Summit, our first 2.5-day national event, referralmasterysummit.com, is the 14th, 15th, and 16th. You're not just going to walk out with a 52-week plan for your database. You're actually going to walk out with a 52-week planner. That's right, a physical planner that is calibrated with 7L and to maximize your referrals, literally, that you can open up every week, flip through it, and you're going to find that you can spend less than an hour a week and get 100 to 200 referrals a year with these. Referralmasterysummit.com. We are quote unquote sold out, but we do have a few seats remaining. We'd love, and Dan, we'd for sure love to have you, but we'd also love to put that invitation out to everybody listening today.
Yeah, and don't forget to do the download for Dan's checklist. That's going to be fun.
Yes. Like we said about halfway through, I want to repeat, because this is such a great download. Go to referrallibrary.com. Please note that at the end of referral, there is an L, and at the beginning of library, there is an L, and after the B in library, there is an R. So it's referrallibrary.com. Check it out. His download, his home buyer checklist will be in there. And Dan, I just have to. I mean, this episode was too short. You know, there's so much more to you to share that we need to have you on again. Thank you so much. If somebody wants to reach out to you, what contact information are you willing to share today for them to do that?
Yeah, cell phone, email, Facebook, any which way. Cell phone's 314-503-0964. Yes, that's the real one. And, Facebook, my name, and Dan at insurancestoreinc.com is the email address. So
Dan at insurance store. There's no the in the beginning?
So no the in the beginning. So Dan at insurancestoreinc.com. Dan at insurancestoreinc.com.
Very good. Awesome. And you gave your phone number, which I've been trying to get that for years. And here I am. I finally had to have you on the podcast to get it. So all good. And then Sandy, hey, thanks a million. Our guest co-host, the hostess with the mostest. She rocked it today. And thank you so much for keeping us on path and also asking such great questions. Sandy is in the Scottsdale, Arizona area. Both of our guest and guest co-host today are up for speaking. You should definitely have them speak to you or to your sales force and share and spread what 7L contains. I would encourage you to reach out to them. Sandy is at Krestan.team.com.
Sandy at thekrestanteam.com.
And Krestan is Krestan.
Yep.
And that's Sandy at thekrestanteam.com. Check her email out and get her to come speak to you. The rest of you, thank you so much for listening. Do me a favor, share this with someone you know. Who's their insurance agent that you know who, you know what, needs to get on board with a better, maybe kinder, gentler, and yet more productive approach. And I would tell you that check it out at referralspodcast.com, but also share and review. We don't want to earn a 5-star. We want to earn a 6-star. We want to earn a 12 out of 10. Let us know how we can do that. Also, who do you know that should be a guest on Referrals Podcast? Let us know at podcast@referco.com. Everybody, thank you so much. We'll see you at the next episode, and you rock. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Sandy.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Sandy.